Station 1. Jesus is tempted. Then Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane. He said to the disciples, "Stay here while I go and pray over there." When he took Peter and Zebedee's 2 sons, he began to feel sad and anxious. Then he said to them, "I'm very sad. It's as if I'm dying. Stay here and keep alert with me." Then he went a short distance further and fell on his face and prayed, "My Father, if it's possible, take this cup of suffering away from me. However, not what I want, but what you want." He came back to his disciples and found them sleeping. He said to Peter, "Couldn't you stay alert 1 hour with me? Stay alert and pray so that you won't give in to temptation. The spirit is eager, but the flesh is weak." A second time he went away and prayed, "My Father, if it's not possible that this cup be taken away unless I drink it, then let it be what you want." Again he came and found them sleeping. Their eyes were heavy with sleep, but he left them and again went and prayed the same words for the 3rd time. Then he came to his disciples and said to them, "Will you sleep and rest all night? Look, the time has come for the human one to be betrayed into the hands of sinners. Get up, let's go. Look, here comes my betrayer." Station 2. Jesus is betrayed. While Jesus was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, came. With him was a large crowd, carrying swords and clubs. They had been sent by the chief priests and the elders of the people. His betrayer had given them a sign: "Arrest the man I kiss." Just then he came to Jesus and said, "Hello, Rabbi." Then he kissed him. But Jesus said to him, "Friend, do what you came to do." Then they came and grabbed Jesus and arrested him.
Station 3. Jesus is condemned. The very air that Pilate breathes, the voice with which he speaks in judgment, all his powers of perception and discrimination, choice, decision, all his years, his days and hours, his consciousness of self, his every sense, are given by this prisoner, freely given. The man who stands there making no defense is God. His hands are tied, his heart is open. And he bears Pilate's heart in his and feels that crushing weight of wasted life. He lifts it up in silent love. He lifts and heals. He gives himself again with all his gifts into our hands. As Pilate turns away, a door swings open. This is Judgment Day.
Station 4. Jesus is mocked. Then Pilate had Jesus taken and whipped. The soldiers twisted together a crown of thorns and put it on his head and dressed him in a purple robe. Over and over they went up to him and said, "Greetings, King of the Jews," and they slapped him in the face. Pilate came out of the palace again and said to the Jewish leaders, "Look, I'm bringing him out to you to let you know that I found no grounds for a charge against him." When Jesus came out, wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe, Pilate said to them, "Here's the man." When the chief priests and their deputies saw him, they shouted out, "Crucify, crucify." Pilate told them, "You take him and crucify him. I don't find any grounds for a charge against him." The Jewish leaders replied, "We have a law, and according to this law, he ought to die because he made himself out to be God's son." Station 5. Jesus is given his cross. He gives himself again with all his gifts. And now we give him something in return. He gave the earth that bears, the air that lifts, water to cleanse and cool, fire to burn. And from these elements he forged the iron. From strands of life he wove the growing wood. He made the stones that pave the roads of Zion. He saw it all and saw that it is good. We took his iron to edge an axe's blade. We took the axe and laid it to the tree. We made a cross of all that he has made and laid it on the one who made us free. Now he receives again and lifts on high the gifts he gave, and we have turned awry.
Station 6. Jesus falls. He made the stones that pave the road of Zion, and well he knows the path we make him tread. He met the devil as a roaring lion, and still refused to turn these stones to bread, choosing instead, as love will always choose, this darker path into the heart of pain. And now he falls upon the stones that bruise the flesh, that break and scrape the tender skin. He and the earth he made were never closer. Divinity and dust come face to face. We flinch back from his Via Dolorosa. He sets his face like flint and takes our place, staggers beneath the black weight of us all, and falls with us that he might break our fall.
Station 7. Simon carries Jesus' cross. In desperation on this road of tears, bystanders and bypassers turn away. In others' pain we face our own worst fears and turn our backs to keep those fears at bay. Unless we are compelled, as this man was, by force of arms or force of circumstance, to face and feel and carry someone's cross in love's full glare and not his backward glance. So Simon, no disciple, still fulfilled the calling, take the cross and follow me. By accident his life was stalled and stilled, becoming all he was compelled to be. Make me, like him, your oppressed man and your priest, your altar Christus, burdened and released.
Station 8. Jesus is stripped. You can't go on, you go on anyway. He goes with you, his cradle to your grave. Now is the time to loosen, cast away the useless weight of everything but love. For he began his letting go before the worlds for which he dies were made, emptied himself, became one of the poor, to make you rich in him and unafraid. See, as they strip the robe from off his back, they strip away your own defenses too. Now you could lose it all and never lack. Now you can see what naked love can do. Let go these bonds beneath whose weight you bow. His stripping strips you both for action now.
Station 9. Jesus is nailed to the cross. See, as they strip the robe from off his back and spread his arms and nail them to the cross. The dark nails pierce him and the sky turns black, and love is firmly fastened onto loss. But here, a pure change happens. On this tree, loss becomes gain, death opens into birth. Here, wounding heals, and fastening makes free. Earth breathes in heaven, heaven roots in earth. And here we see the length, the breadth, the height, where love and hatred meet and love stays true, where sin meets grace and darkness turns to light. We see what love can bear and be and do. And here our Savior calls us to his side. His love is free, his arms are open wide.
Station 10, Jesus dies. The dark nails pierce him and the sky turns black. We watch him as he labors to draw breath. He takes our breath away to give it back, return it to its birth through his slow death. We hear him struggle, breathing through the pain, who once breathed out his spirit on the deep, who formed us when he mixed the dust with rain and drew us into consciousness from sleep. His spirit and his life he breathes in all, mantles his world in his one atmosphere. And now he comes to breathe beneath the pall of our pollutions, draw our injured air, to cleanse it and renew. His final breath breathes us and bears us through the gates of death.
Station 11. Jesus is buried. His spirit and his life he breathes in all. Now on this cross his body breathes no more. Here at the center everything is still, spent and emptied, opened to the core. A quiet taking down, a prizing loose, a crossbeam lowered like a weighing scale, unmaking of each thing that had its use, a long withdrawing of each bloodied nail. This is ground zero, emptiness and space, with nothing left to say or think or do, but look unflinching on the sacred face that cannot move or change or look at you. Yet in that prizing loose and letting be, he has unfastened you and set you free.